Welcome to part 3 of this 3-part video series about the Periodical Source Index, or PERSI for short. So in part 1, I explained that PERSI is a subject index to all sorts of wonderful resources in genealogical and historical society periodicals. I also shared 7 different types of articles that you could find that can help you with your research. And in part 2, I demonstrated how to search for articles in PERSI using the new version available through the Allen County Public Library's website. So if you haven't watched the first 2 parts yet, I'd love it if you would take a look at those before watching part 3. And there are links to both parts in the description for this video. So now that that's all out of the way, you're probably wondering what we're covering in part 3. Well, now that you've found some articles that you'd like to get, you need to know how to get them, right? So in this video, I'll show you 5 different ways you can access the articles of interest. So hey there, I am Julie Cahill-Tarr with Genealogy in Action, and I simplify advanced genealogy research concepts so that you can chase down your ancestors quickly and confidently. So if you're a dedicated genealogist looking to up-level your research skills, you're in the right place. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 ways you can go about obtaining a copy of the articles you find in PERSI. And stay tuned until the end, where I'll show you the rest of my workflow using the spreadsheet I shared in part 2, so you can use it to make tracking your searches and requests easier. All right, so let's talk about the different ways you can access a copy of an article. Now, the easiest way is to send a request to the Allen County Public Library using their PERSI order form. Now, there is a fee of $7.50 per order form, which can include up to 6 article requests. Now, this payment must be sent along with the order form. And when the order is fulfilled, they'll mail you the copies of the articles you requested, along with an invoice for the copy fee, which is 20 cents per page. So let's say you requested 5 articles and the total number of pages across those 5 articles was 15. Your cost would be $7.50 at the time of the request, plus an additional $3 for the copies, so a total of $10.50. Now, this really isn't a bad deal, and this is the method I use most often, unless I know I can get an article another way for free, because I'm cheap. All right. So here's what the order form looks like. You'll use the information you collected during your search to fill in the order form. So we make this just a little bit bigger here. You can see you'll include your name and address, follow the instructions here, and you'll include the title of the article, the title of the journal. You don't need to worry about the code, the volume, the number, the issue number. If you have the month, that's great. Otherwise, just the year is fine. Now, because you have to spend $7.50 per order, regardless of whether you want 1 article or the maximum of 6 articles, it's most economical to wait until you have a total of 6 to submit at once. Otherwise, it'll become a bit more costly. So this is why I keep track of the articles I want in a spreadsheet, because once I have 6 articles, I fill out the form and drop it in the mail. Now, you'll notice here that it says, please allow 6 to 8 weeks. But I rarely ever have to wait that long, although this was pre-COVID. So the time might be a little bit longer, but usually I'd say no more than a month for me. But that's just in my experience. So anyways, I have put a link to this order form in the description of this video. All right, so the next way, many periodicals are available in other repositories. And if a repository is close to you, this might be a faster and cheaper option. So you can check the holdings of your nearby libraries or genealogical societies to see if they carry the periodical. And you may be able to find information on their website or through their online catalog, or you may have to call or email to inquire. You can also search for the periodical at WorldCat to see what repositories carry it. And if you put in your zip code, you can see the places that are closest to you. And if you see that other libraries carry the periodical, but there aren't any that are near you, you could do one of two things. One, you could contact your local library to see if they can obtain the specific issue or a copy of the article through interlibrary loan. The second option is you could also try contacting a repository directly and ask them for a copy that way. But note that there may be a small fee to cover copy cost or postage. However, they might be willing to scan it and email it to you for free. I mean, you don't know until you ask, right? So the third way is if the publisher is a genealogical or historical society that is still active, you might be able to get a copy through them. Now, there's a couple different routes here as well. So first, the society may have digitized back issues, and those may be available to members through a dedicated section of the society's website. So for example, the New England Historic Genealogical Society has digitized all back issues of the register, which are available to members. Another option is to call or email the society to see if they're willing to send you a copy of the article. They might email you a digital copy for free, or they may send a copy in the mail for a small fee. The fourth way is digital repositories. So there are several online collections that have digitized periodicals. The popular digital book sites, such as Google Books, Internet Archive, and HathiTrust, all have genealogical and historical society publications among their collections. So for example, at these websites, you can find old issues of the New England Historical and Genealogical Register, the National Genealogical Society Quarterly, the New Hampshire Genealogical Record, the Pennsylvania Magazine of History and Biography, and the South Carolina Historical and Genealogical Magazine. And there's many others as well. You might also find digitized issues at smaller digital repositories. So for example, the STRPES, the quarterly publication of the Texas State Genealogical Society, is digitized, and issues from 1961 to 2000 are available for free through the Portal to Texas History. Another example, the Journal of the Illinois State Historical Society is digitized and available through the Northern Illinois University Digital Library. All right, and finally, number 5 is if you have a subscription to Findmypast, you can access any digitized issues that are available in their PERSI database. Now, I mentioned in part 1 that I'm not sure if the PERSI database will remain on Findmypast. I have no idea. All I can glean right now is that Findmypast does not appear to have index listings for articles published from like 2019 to the present. Whereas the new PERSI database hosted on the Allen County Public Library's website appears to have articles through 2020. At any rate, it seems that for now, at least, if digitized, you can get articles through Findmypast. So how can you tell if an article's been digitized at Findmypast? Well, when you search their PERSI database, there will be an image icon for the article in the search results. So let's take a quick peek at how this works. So here is the PERSI database on Findmypast. So I did a quick search for my Governor John Webster, and there are 5 results listed here. Now, you'll notice that there are icons on the right-hand side of these results. And this particular one here, the second one down, has 2 icons. So when you see this icon, this image icon, that means that there is a digitized version here. And when you click on it, it'll actually bring you to this particular issue, which is like ginormous. So let's make that a little smaller. So you can see that it's the Americana, you can see the volume, the date, and the issue number. And then you just use the arrow keys and such to navigate to where you need to find the article. And then you can print it, download it, do whatever you'd like. So there you have it. 5 ways you can access the articles you find in PERSI. Now, before we wrap up, I promised I'd show you the rest of my workflow using the spreadsheet I shared in part 2. So let's take a look at how you can use the spreadsheet to make tracking your searches and requests easier. Now, I do have a slight disclaimer here. Because I use PERSI in conjunction with a specific research project, I track the articles I want to request in my project's research log, which includes details such as when I requested the article, when I received the article, where I filed it, and any other notes or findings or even a summary of the article. So that said, I do use the spreadsheet as my master article list so that I don't end up looking for or requesting the same article more than once. So if you want to use only the spreadsheet to track your searches and requests in detail, you might want to go ahead and add a date requested column to the request sheet and a date received column to the completed sheet. So let's look at how this would work. Okay, so here is the spreadsheet that we started to work with in part 2. That first entry is the one that I demoed in part 2, and then I've added 2 others for demonstration purposes. Now, if you want to add the date columns that I talked about a little bit ago to track the date you requested the article and the date you received it, this is how I would do it. So because I formatted, you can see I have these dark lines that kind of go across. So because I formatted it that way and I want to keep that formatting, the easiest way is to just highlight this column, drag it to the next, and then up here under fill, I want to fill right. It basically duplicates it. I am going to delete the information there because I don't need it. Change the title of the column to date requested. I can make this column a little smaller because it doesn't need to be quite that big. And then I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to right click and format cells because I want to make it a text cell for a reason. I want to format my date as follows. So by year, month, and day. And that way I can sort just a little bit easier. I prefer this method. You can go ahead and format it to a regular month, day, year, or if you're in another part of the world, however you prefer to format it. So I'm going to pretend like I requested this on the 1st of February. All right. And then we're going to do the same thing on the completed. And I'm going to do this same thing. Whoops. Date received or completed, whichever you prefer. Change that, format this. All right. Scroll back over and then back to the request sheet. All right, so Normally, what I do is as I am going through and searching PERSI, I start recording the information from my searches here. Then I spend some time going through each one to figure out where I can get it. Now, in most cases, I mentioned earlier that my preferred method is to use that PERSI order form from the Allen County Public Library, which I've abbreviated here as ACPL. So that's normally what I do. However, there are instances where I know off the top of my head that I can get them through like a membership that I have, or I have a trip to the Wisconsin Historical Society planned, and I know I can get copies there very easily. I can just take pictures with my phone if I want to, things like that. So depending on the situation, I may be looking outside of the Allen County Public Library, but in most cases, I just go ahead and order it through them. It helps, the money helps support them too. So at any rate, I have that one that we did back in part 2, and I have identified that as it's going to be a request from the Allen County Public Library. And then I have 2 more. One is from the New York Genealogical and Biographical Society record. And as a member, I can get that from them directly. They have that digitized, and I can go in and get that copy. And I have the another article from the New England Historical and Genealogical Register. And although I am a member of that society, I find that some of these older issues are digitized on Internet Archive, and it's just easier to access for me personally than it is to go into the database and try to access it that way. It's just personal preference, but I do have 2 options in this case that I'm aware of. And so in this case, I just put Internet Archive. So normally, because if I'm looking for something, in this case, I know I can get them in these places. So I may just leave them on my list until I have a chance to go deal with them. And a lot of times, again, what I do is it goes onto my research log and it's prioritized. So I may not get to these right away. It just kind of depends. But in some cases, as I'm going through and researching, well, where might I find this? I may just grab it while I'm there. So what I would do, let's say that I have this one, I know I can get it in in my membership database. So I go and I grab it, and I am just going to highlight the line. I'm going to cut. So Control X, or I guess Command X on a Mac. I'm going to switch to the completed tab, and I'm going to Control V to paste it in there, or Command V on a Mac. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill in the date here, and I'm just going to use today's date, and there we go. So now it is no longer here. I can go ahead and just delete this row here, and I'm good. Now let's pretend like I did this on the 1st, today's the 9th, and magically this came in the mail along with 5 others, because like I said, I would do 6 at a time to save money. So let's say I'm going through and I'm doing that. I want to, again, I'm going to cut this from here. I'm going to switch it and paste it here. And then I am going to change the date to today. Okay, so I just keep a running tally of this, and there we go. And again, you can come back here and just get rid of that blank line. And now I just have one on my list. So again, this was just kind of a way for you to track it, so you know, okay, there's no date here. It hasn't been requested or found or completed or whatever. Once I request it, whether it's from filling out the order form for Allen County Public Library, or let's say that I was contacting another repository directly and asking for a copy, I would put that in there. You could also include some notes here, like for example, you have your date requested, let's say it was today, and then you have a note that said, we'll email within a week, or something, or we'll send in the mail within a week, or whatever they tell you, like, yes, we're going to do this, and it's going to take us a week to get it to you, and this is the means that we're going to get it. If they are going to charge you for it, you can make a note of that too. However you want to set up this spreadsheet, it's completely up to you. I just gave you something to kind of get started in part 2 so that you had a place to kind of collect this information here. What you choose to do with it in terms of tracking it, what you want to include if you want to get more detailed. Like I said, with my research log, I have a variety of things that I collect. I could do that all in one place here, but because I do things by project, it's just easier for me to have everything there and then have a master list of all the articles that I've found so that I don't look for them again or request them and pay for them again. So it just kind of depends on how you want to utilize it. It's completely up to you. The workflow can be adapted to whatever works for your particular research workflow. All right, so if you've been taking action from part 1 and part 2, you now have a list of articles that you want to get copies of. So using the 5 ways presented here, spend some time working through your list to determine how you'll access the article and make a note of it on your list. Then start making those requests. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you're excited about requesting the articles that you've found. And I hope that they help you with your research. Now, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe using the button below and click the little bell so that you'll be notified when new videos are released. Bye for now.